Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're really glad that you're here, and we'll talk a bit about how unusual this all is and why we're not all sitting at a restaurant. We all know why we're not, but Special Olympics has some real strict things that we can't do, and so we're obviously doing something very different today. Thank you for being here. We're gonna get started now. One of the first things I want to do is to introduce our chef, Sebastian, or as we call him, Seabass, from town, who's going to be instructing us all, instructing me here, but instructing you as you prepare your meal for tonight. You can see that I have a bunch of pans out here. I've got all things kind of set up and ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And then, well, right after we get started with the first thing, which is the soup, then we'll talk a little bit about Special Olympics and what's going on right now in Special Olympics. So the first thing is the soup.
Actually, before that, if anything, we should
already screwed up.
Go ahead and set everybody's ovens to 425, just so it's nice and ready to go for your pie.
I need these for seeing that I did that right. Okay, so oven is set, 425.
Grab our soup.
Grab the soup. We have a lot of soup here because we actually have 6 people sitting around, so we're going to do this soup. Okay, so the soup is on medium?
Yeah, medium high. Should be come together pretty quick.
So tell us a little bit about the soup, and then we'll get started with Special Olympics stuff.
Yeah, the soup we have today is a brown butternut squash soup. Really simple soup, just onions, garlic, some carrots, and then of course butternut squash. Roasted off butternut squash to get a nice little bit of caramelization. And then after it simmers, and we use a base of Parmesan stock, which we use in a lot of recipes at town. And simmer it for about an hour, a bit of sage in there, and then puree it with a little bit of brown butter that we also make in-house for various other dishes, and you have a butternut squash soup. A little touch of nutmeg, and it's great.
I don't think I've ever heard of Parmesan stock. So how do you make Parmesan stock?
Same thing that you would make any other stock, as opposed to the bones that you would typically use in a stock, like a chicken or a beef stock. We use the rind, the harder outer casing of the Parmesan cheese that we bring in. So some veggies, simmer it for a few hours, and then you have a nice Parmesan stock that goes well with a lot of things, like use it in our risotto.
Nice, thank you. All right, well, your soup is being heated at the moment. So let me tell you a little bit about where we are with Special Olympics, just to give you an idea as to kind of the state of Special Olympics right now. So obviously, going back to March when COVID happened and is still happening, we stopped all in-person activity, which is really unfortunate, obviously, for Special Olympics in particular. And there's a couple of things that impacts. Obviously, the most important part is that we can't bring athletes together. You know, our typical way that we handle Special Olympics, or how Special Olympics works, is that we bring athletes in for practices year-round. So we have sports year-round, and then they have different competitions year-round. We have a couple of major competitions, one in the summer, one in the fall. But otherwise, we have competitions all along the year. And so unfortunately, we haven't been able to bring people together. So that's really impactful to the athletes. In our conversations with athletes, they feel isolated at the moment. They feel a bit lonely. They can't get together with their fellow athletes and their friends that they previously had. So it's really not a very good situation. We've tried a few things to bring athletes together through what we're doing right now, a virtual room, through Zoom and that sort of stuff. It hasn't been incredibly effective as of yet. I'll tell you what we're doing in Glendale that just started. We basically we communicated to all the athletes that we were essentially starting a fall program with something called, is it Healthy Athletes? Team Wellness, sorry. Team Wellness, where we asked the athletes to sign up to participate in this, and about 40% of the athletes in Glendale signed up, and we've now split them up into teams. So I'm coach of one of the teams, and there's several other coaches that are coaching teams that we're bringing them together just like we would on a regular basis. He's gonna have to help me with the cooking. But just like we did on a regular practice. So we set a practice time. So our practice time here for my team is at 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays. We meet through Zoom. We go through a exercise routine. We do some stretching. We do exercises. We talk for a while just to let them communicate with each other. And then we try to do some fun things on there where we're going to be doing some potentially teaching them to juggle a couple things. There might be a little magic going on in some of that, but just to kind of keep them interested and engaged. And so we've only had one practice so far. It seemed to go pretty well. I was exhausted, so I think we had a lot of energy expended. And I think it's going to go really well for them, but it's not the same. And so hopefully we'll get beyond this pretty quick. And I'll tell you a little bit about what the future looks like for Special Olympics. But one of the other things that it impacts is fundraising. Obviously, this dinner that we're having today virtually is something we would have otherwise done at the restaurant and gotten 100 people there at the restaurant and have a pretty exciting evening to enjoy. Obviously, Seabass does a very good job with creating the menu and the wine pairings and that sort of stuff. But we haven't been able to gather people just like most situations in Los Angeles. And for Special Olympics, most of the fundraising is done through events. So large events, small events. We have quite a few things that are police officers who partner with Special Olympics do, but all of them are event oriented. So we haven't been able to do any of those physically. We've attempted to do a number of them virtually. Some of them have done well, some of them haven't. But that's been a significant impact to Special Olympics and in the dollars that we need to run Special Olympics. Just to give you an idea, for 2020, we're estimating that Special Olympics revenues will be down 60%. And that's all due to the fact that we can't come together to do these sorts of events that we're otherwise would plan to do. So that's why we're trying things new. That's why what we're doing right now is very new. So there's about 50 people that are, again, I'm not doing the cooking part, which I'm supposed to be, but
it's just strange. It's fine.
About 50 people are on this call today. So hopefully you're enjoying the wine. Hopefully you'll enjoy the evening. We'll talk a bit about how you can give later in the evening, but this is something new. We're trying things new to see what will stick and how we can engage our volunteers, how we can engage our donors, and so this is our attempt to do that. So here's a bit of exciting news. So that's a bit of a, I guess, downer information about how we can't come together for practices and competitions. We can't come together for events. But one of the things that's changed very significantly for Special Olympics is our previous CEO, Bill Schumart, who was our longtime CEO. He's been a CEO for 15 years at Special Olympics and has done an incredible job. He's overseen incredible growth to where right now, or prior to COVID, we were impacting about 40,000 athletes, either through our school programs or our community programs. It was a planned situation that he planned to retire here at the end of this year. So he's done that now. We went through a process of selecting a new CEO, and it was an incredible process. I actually had the opportunity to participate in the selection process. We went through a number of rounds of interviews of very significantly experienced people, very competent, they would have done, all of these people, I think, from the perspective of many of the people that were on the selection committee, all 20 or so that we actually interviewed through several rounds, would have done well for Special Olympics. So that was great. We went through the process hoping that it would be an excruciating process that would be difficult to make a decision, and it was. But we were able to select our new CEO, Calvin Lyons, who comes to us from Los Angeles Boys and Girls Club. He previously had experience in Seattle with Boys and Girls Club for several years. He previously was coming from the business world. He worked for Boeing for a number of years as an engineer for several years and his other higher level positions within Boeing. So we're extremely excited to have him, to see him take us in a new direction for the future. Bill Schumart always said, what got us here won't get us there. And I think that that's very true for why we're in this situation. We selected Calvin, and that he's going to get us to the next level. We have all the confidence in the world in him. And so just wanted to give you that sort of update. Our Glendale local program is still running strong as we can make it. Like I said, you'll hear from Kim a little later, but we're attempting all sorts of things. And so we're really wanting to engage athletes, engage our volunteers, engage our donors through this whole process where we haven't been able to do very much of that. So enjoy your evening. I'm going to get back to cooking, and so Sebastian is going to explain some more things as we go along. But I do want to tell you a little bit about Sebastian. He came to us at the restaurant. He started about 5 months into the restaurant. We've been around for over 5 years, so he's been with us since basically the beginning. And I didn't know this actually, but he started as a busboy. So he was clearing tables and that sort of thing. He was going to culinary school at the time, graduated culinary school, started to work as a sous chef a couple of years, or maybe a year after being a busboy. And then a couple of years into that, I don't know if you know this, but at restaurants we have a fairly high turnover of personnel, and especially at the chef position. So we've been very lucky to have Sebastian as part of our team for a number of years, and being the head chef for the last couple of years. When he started being as the head chef, he was only 23 years old, so he's only 25. He says he feels like he's 42 now, but that's more just from the experience. But he's only 25, so it's really incredible with some of the things that he's done. And I hope you enjoy what you're going to be served tonight. He always does a great job of selecting the menu. And I really love the fact that it got cold, because this is a real hearty fall meal, and it works really well with how cold it is outside. So the soup is done.
It's done. It's hot. It's warm. Let's get it going.
Yeah. All right.
Sure. Go ahead. Portion out for the rest of us.
The rest of us. Well, I'm going to do that. Well, you all, hopefully you're in about the same spot, if maybe a little in front of me on your cooking. I had come up with a menu that was a bit different than this. And so now, with Sebastian's input, we're serving you something that's more appropriate. So I really think I had the meal already. I went and tested it last week, or was it? Yeah, last week.
A week ago.
And it's the soup I've had before, but the short rib polenta, ragu with the polenta is really good. You're going to really enjoy it, I think. And the mushroom ragu is really hearty as well, so I think that's going to go really well. So there was a couple of accoutrements. Was that French?
Yes.
So we have some these walnuts.
These are candied walnuts. Yeah, we made them in house. We also have a bit of fried sage and creme fraiche, which we also make in house.
Put my fingers in it. So I'm going to throw a few of those in. So one of them I'm not going to do. Okay. Two of them I'm not going to do. All right.
Yeah.
And then this is
creme fraiche. Mm-hmm. So basically house made sour cream, essentially.
okay. Where am I telling them to send them?
You can send them back on the email.
Okay, so what I've been told to tell you that as you prepare your meal tonight, take pictures of the soup, you know, take pictures of whatever you would like to take pictures of as you, little selfie with what you're doing, and send them to Kim. Is that a bay leaf?
These are sage.
Sage.
Yeah.
Fried?
Fried sage, yeah.
So fried sage to top it all off with.
Absolutely. A little bit of
But
earthiness to
send it to Kim. The email that she sent the link to tonight's Zoom, you could just reply to that with any of the pictures that you take. All right, there we go. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this main course, which is
it's a short rib ragu. It's going to be paired with sauteed broccoli rabe and crispy polenta cake. As opposed to if you decide for the vegetarian option, in which case you have mushroom ragu.
mushroom ragu. We actually have both here. So we have the mushroom ragu and we have the short rib ragu here, and they're both warming up. So basically, just kind of put them on medium heat and
Medium heat, let them simmer. For the short rib ragu, if anything, you are more than welcome to add a little bit of water to it, just to cut the juice. As the short rib is going to need a little bit of an extra time in order to get all heated all the way through it. Yeah, mushrooms shouldn't have any issue. Besides that, you want to start up on the polenta cake? Let's get it on. Yeah.
This is canola oil.
This is canola oil, but feel free to use extra virgin, coconut oil, whatever oil you have in your own home. Canola oil has a pretty high smoke point, which is really good for it not to burn and give the astringency. So yeah, just about a tablespoon, enough to coat the bottom of the pan, more or less.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit more. Yeah. Keep that on about a medium to high heat.
You let it heat up a bit?
Yeah. You're gonna want it nice and crisp.
Because you're frying essentially.
Yes, that's what you're doing.
The polenta cakes are cooked at this point, but you're giving them a bit of a crust.
You're giving them a crust, a nice golden crust, and then on top of all of that, you gotta heat them all the way through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so that's what we're doing. Broccoli rabe?
Yeah, as well. Go ahead.
So,
let's get that pan getting nice and hot.
I have a very expensive stove that I have to light with one of these, which is unfortunate. Broccoli rabe is over here.
Broccoli rabe, we got your polenta.
Is the so a little oil here too?
Yeah, a little bit of oil. And then, everybody, you got a little bit of shallots we haven't pre-cut for you guys. Just go ahead and toss those in. As the pan heats up, we're gonna get the shallots start caramelizing them, yeah, a little bit, and sweat them down.
Pink. It's Kim's utensil. This may or may not be my third or fourth glass of wine, but it's really good. All right, so things are starting to break down. This is.
You got your ragus nice and simmering.
This will, I suppose, heat up faster than this because of the meat density over here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Only perk about veggies.
Oh yeah. Really looking good. What's in the ragu, by the way?
The ragu has a standard mirepoix, which is just a really fancy French term for celery, onions, and carrots. Start that off. You sear off your short rib, which we dice up into about 2-inch pieces. Get a nice hard sear on them where they start to take on a golden brown look to them. After that, we end up cooking down our vegetables, throw in a little bit of tomato paste, reduce it down to some red wine. We use Burgundy wine at the restaurant. After that, some pureed tomatoes and some beef stock. and as opposed to the vegetarian version, which is all the same processes, except obviously substituting vegetable stock for the mushrooms.
So then you braise?
Then, yeah, top it off, cover it, wrapped up, throw it into an oven about 300 degrees so that the short rib has enough time to start, releasing all those proteins, get it nice and tender, and really just pork tender and just shreddable. Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Is it, what kind of mushrooms? It's cremini
These
or?
are oyster mushrooms.
Oyster.
Right?
Oh,
Yeah.
mushroom.
Yeah. Really, really great mushroom. I mean, originally I intended on doing a porcini and oyster mushroom blend with a little bit of issues acquiring them, but oyster mushrooms are a great hearty mushroom. They go great with tomatoes. So
this is now nice and.
yeah, nice and hot. You get to see a little bit of a shimmering effect in the oil.
So the blended cakes are going in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. They talk, when you watch cooking classes, which unfortunately I like to do, they talk about not overcrowding.
Overcrowding pans.
Yeah. What is that from a heat perspective? Is it?
I mean, yeah, the more items that you have in the pan, the lower, like obviously as soon as you drop these things in, the temperature is going to fluctuate. So all of that nice hot oil that you have is going to end up cooling down to the point that you're not actually going to be able to get as nice that golden sear that you're looking for.
Almost steam them in some way, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Starting to get some nice caramelization on these onions. I can go ahead and throw them in.
You tell me you're not burning them at this point?
Not yet, but give it another couple minutes and you might.
All right. Has this been?
This has already been par blanched, so yeah, just dropped into boiling water for about a minute and a half or so, just to soften up those stems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that!
At this point, you can go ahead and start tossing your wine.
Okay. About how much? Is it?
Just give it a nice squeeze. Keep it going, keep it going. And you're good.
Salt, pepper?
Yeah. Now, as the wine starts to cook off, it's also going to give it that nice steam in order to help the broccoli raw come up to temperature.
Smell? All right. I'm thinking these are.
About ready?
You tell me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's a nice color on them.
I don't know. Yeah. See. Look at that. Oh, that was a little not quite good either. Breaking up your polenta a little bit.
That's still going to taste delicious.
Yeah, is it what was the herb that you used?
It's a rosemary polenta.
Rosemary. Oh man, it's really good. Like I said, I had it last week, and it's had so much flavor to the whole meal here, the dish. The short rib is now starting to break up, so that's getting heated through, I guess.
The more you break that up, obviously, the quicker it's going to be able to heat up. So.
Do you want all the moisture to evaporate here?
For the most part, what you're really looking for is just that the broccoli raws heated all the way through, nice and hot. If there's any residual moisture, it doesn't really matter. Just
Pull it out.
Let it drain a little bit. And, yeah. Also, with your polenta cakes, now that they're nice and flipped, you can go ahead and garnish with a little bit more salt on one side. it helps to retain the crispness that you got out of the first stewing.
What did you call it?
Crispness.
Sorry, that was the 3 glasses of wine. Bob. Well, it looks like we're getting very close. Hopefully you're in the same place we are. But yeah, so we're waiting for this. I think the polenta really, I guess we need to burn off a bit more of the moisture there. But otherwise, it's.
Off camera.
Yeah, chef is tasting seeing how much I messed up his meal.
That's good.
Good. All right. I think the meats are probably cooked through a bit, don't you think? I touched all of them. Is that okay for everybody? Normally it's just Kim and I here. But,
Go ahead and take a look at the underside of that. Looking for about the same color. Yeah. Just like that. You go ahead and take it off the heat. Broccoli runs through.
do you pack these off at all, or is that,
No need. So as long as you're
let him drip a little, if there's anything there, would you
yeah,
serve them?
precisely.
All right. Okay, well, we're gonna serve, and Kim's gonna tell you a little bit more about Special Olympics.
First, I want to say thank you for joining us. This is really fun. It's we just really want to do it. We wanted to be with you guys. I was lucky enough to be able to distribute bags, and was happy to see everybody today. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the volunteers that we have, because we don't have a program without our volunteers. And every year we celebrate volunteers at this event, but I just want to say that this year's been especially challenging, and I appreciate all the volunteers really reaching out and saying, what can I do? How can we be a part of it? And even though it's been hard to find those ways, I just really appreciate it. Couple of things that I want to highlight from this year. One is that we've been working hard on a relationship with Glendale PD for the last 5 years, and this year we had a police officer step up who just really was excited about our program and really wanted to be a part of it. And so Officer Amy Tate took on a project of producing videos or photo content for every day of our virtual torch run. So right now we're in the middle of it, but if you follow Glendale Police Department, Glendale Police Officers Association, Special Olympics Glendale on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see where Amy has highlighted our athletes. And it's just really special. It was special to be able to go out to their homes and be with them and see their faces. And so I just really am filled with gratitude for Amy and what she's doing there, and how we've kind of brought that partnership really full circle. The other thing has to do with Glendale PD also, but we did a collaborative with the police department, and this year we have what's called a premise history, and I really felt like we needed to do what we could to help our first responders when they are brought out to somebody's home for something. So all of our athletes were sent forms to where they could fill out information about the people in residence at the home. So the police department, fire department, put those in their system, so it's associated with an address. So they know now that when they go out to a home, that if somebody in residence, one of our athletes has autism, they know that maybe they're afraid of people in uniform. They know that the best way to de-escalate and deal with them is to, talk in a certain tone or things like that. So we really wanted to give them that resource. And I just want to give a shout out to Officer Tigran Tavakian, because he really took the ball on that one and ran with it. So grateful for him in that. On this webinar, we have several people from Crescenta Valley High School, and I just want to mention that they are continuing to do the work. They continue to support us in everything we do, But even in this time where all the students are on Zoom and it's easy just to get through the day and do what you have to do, they are still using their Special Olympics Club, and they are having virtual meetings and inviting students at the school to be a part of it. But also they're going to be working with our athletes in the future to help us engage them. Once again, Richard mentioned the team wellness program. We can't do what we do without our coaches. And I know that it's hard to do a workout on Zoom, but I've had the privilege of watching those happen. It's amazing. And I just really want to give a lot of credit to our coaches who've taken that on. Special shout out to Kathy Leone, because Kathy's been doing bi-weekly Zoom workouts since the beginning of the pandemic. And there's nothing that gives me greater joy than to see the athletes and coaches when they first get on those Zoom calls and the way they are so happy to see each other. And some of the athletes, they don't even work out. They just sit on the call and say hi to everybody on the call, which is great. That's what it's all about. So for us, for me in particular, it's been about engagement. It's been about being creative in ways that we never thought we'd have to, and really trying to engage our athletes, our volunteers, our community, and for all the work that we've done in the last few years, we don't want anybody to forget that we're here. And so I just want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who have been supporting us. And I'm really excited for next spring and summer, fall, when we can get back on the field together and just do what we love to do. So thank you guys very much.
We've served, but so now what we need to do is actually prep the
dessert,
dessert.
yeah, before you guys dig in.
Yeah, just so that we have that ready and going. So have a little pan, or a sheet pan, with a little
bit of pan, or if you guys have parchment paper on, that also works just as well.
Can I put them on here and then brush them, or do I show?
Absolutely.
So we're going to do place these on there, and then we're going to do a little egg wash.
A little bit of egg wash.
What's the egg wash do?
The egg wash just gives it a nice golden brown exterior as it heats up. Otherwise, you just get a nice pale, crispy, flaky dough.
So if you didn't know why you had an egg or more than an egg inside your package, it's because of this. So do you put a little water in this usually? Or
you can do a little bit of water. You can do a little bit of milk.
I'm gonna put a little bit of water. And I forget, what was the oven set at for?
425. It's going to go in there for about 15 to 20 minutes. Not all ovens are the same, so just be patient with it.
And did you say what the filling was?
It's basically just an apple pie, freeform apple pie. Nice flaky pie crust to it. It's got a little bit of apple spice within it, which is a mix of cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice.
And then just somewhere in the middle of it.
Just somewhere in the middle of your oven.
How much time do we think?
I think about 15 minutes to start.
Here and start. Okay. Are we? Hopefully you've enjoyed the ragu with the polenta. The polenta was a killer in that. That was really good, really good. So we have a special message from an aunt of one of our athletes, about Katakian. The aunt's name is Nina. Really strong message, so hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Hello, my name is Nina Rostamian, and I'm connected to this wonderful organization through my nephew Sevak Patakian, who is a Special Olympics athlete since 2014. Sevak is strongly passionate about sport, and when he moved to the United States 10 years ago, we were all looking for opportunities for him to participate in sport activities or teams. When Regional Center offered Special Olympics, I was so worried that originally Armenian, born in Iran, Sevak only knew Armenian and Farsi and no communication in English and no English knowledge. But it has been a great journey for him. Special Olympic changed his life significantly, regardless of language barrier. Because all coaches and volunteers and families and athletes being so patient and nice to him, and he learned English with them, and he become more socialized, confident, accomplished, and it impacted his life and significantly changed our family dynamic. I thank all of you, sponsors, donors, volunteers, coaches, families, athletes, who make this happen for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities to become part of our society and feel confident, accomplished, and achieve every day and be happy and satisfied. Thank you all.
So that was really a powerful message from a relative to see how an athlete is impacted by Special Olympics and what happens in that family. They're really devoted. Sabag is a really great athlete. I've had the opportunity to coach him in basketball. Really emotional athlete, but super, super nice athlete. He's just incredible. And I've been able to coach him for the last 3 years, and I've seen him grow over the last 3 years. So it's been really great. So we're almost done. I think if you've had your so good. Take these out. This is the dessert. Take it out. Oh yeah, look at that. So that is the dessert, and I'm going to go ahead and serve it up. And then we'll just have one final thing to talk about, which is why you're all on this call to begin with. Most of you are on this call for this reason. So obviously this is served with some ice cream, and you should receive in your some caramel with the ice cream. So you tell me as drizzle, I'm assuming.
Go crazy
Go
with
crazy
it.
with it.
Just get
All
a
right.
little Jackson Pollock here.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that streak over there. All right, a little ice cream.
A little ice cream.
I always feel like wine goes well with dessert as well. So
What doesn't wine go well with? That's a better question.
one last dollop of ice cream. All right, so there's your dessert. Hopefully you're at the same place we are, or you already had it. I know that there was at least one family that ate well before we even started, because he goes to bed about right now. So before he goes to bed, I want to make sure that you all hear, the message that, like I mentioned before, we really struggled, like a lot of nonprofits struggled with revenues this year. And so we're looking to raise a bit of money. In the instruction, when you received it for the invitation for this dinner, oops. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Not my microwave.
Was directions for a text to give, and what that does is it directs you to a website where you can give online through either a credit card or debit card or something like that. But Kim will also be sending you an email sometime this week to give you more direction about that. But we'd really love your support, whatever you can do. Hopefully you enjoyed your evening. hopefully you understand a bit more about what we're struggling with and what things we're trying to do. And be sure to send your pictures to Kim. Thank you. Send your pictures to Kim for anything that you've done today. And then lastly, thanks Sebastian for being here and for doing all this. Really well done. And to thank Jim and Angela, who are the primary owners and operators of town, who allowed Sebastian to be here, but to always give us the opportunity to use the restaurant. And so we want to really thank them for that opportunity. So thank you. Have a great evening. Enjoy your dessert. And we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.